Here we have a new 2023 Hyundai Santa Fe. This one comes in the SEL trim level, 2.5 with all-wheel drive. Comes in Stormy C on beige cloth interior. And then our powertrain does consist of a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. As we come around to the front end here, we do get our LED headlamps. We also get LED signature daytime running lights as well. They don't flash like that, that's just how my camera's picking it up. But really love the front end styling. Even with this kind of having a black plastic look, it still looks really, really sleek as opposed to looking cheap. And then coming around the wheels here, these are going to be 18-inch aluminum. And sorry, the car's a little filthy. I try to get these car reviews done as soon as they get off the truck. And then we have passive keyless entry, automatic one-touch up and down windows for the driver, front passenger, just regular power windows for the back. And then we also have our child lock and rear window lock here, which is really great that all of that's with the touch of a button instead of having to manually do it from the rear doors. And then our power door lock controls here, power mirror controls are here. You can set it to right, left, or turn them off, and then you can use that to set them. And then pretty good sized pocket here, put a bigger water bottle there. And then we have the brightness for our gauge cluster here. We can turn our lane centering on and off. And then we also have our lift gate there, which is going to be power, traction control, and then electronic parking brake. Pull up to engage, hit the brake, press down to disengage. And then here we have our power front driver's seat with two-way power lumbar support. Now before we check out the rear leg room, let's take a quick look at this window sticker here. Sorry if the sun's in the way, but really good crash test ratings. Here are all of our standard features. And then this one stickers right at $35,865. And there are our EPA fuel economy numbers there. But now let's go ahead and hop in here. So pretty impressive leg room here. I'm 6'3", have longer legs, and I have the seat in front of me adjusted for someone of my size. And knees are not touching the back at all. So like that. Rear AC vents are here, 2 USB-A charge ports down there. And then this middle seat does fold down. And then cup holders are there. And I just like how nice, even with the cloth interior, how nice that feels. This does the plastic covers on the headrest, but there are those there. Then we have grab handles with hanger hooks there. Yellow dome lights, but whatever. Gas cap, we just have to push to get to that. Then we have to push it to close on this one. And then pretty good space because there's no third row in this one. Love how they have that pocket there to keep stuff in the trunk, but you don't want it to slide around. And then the floor mats are here. Owner's manuals are here. And then your jack and wheel locks are here. And I like that we have this extra storage pocket too. But with this one being power, we can just hit that. And while the tailgate's or lift gate's going down, there's the exhaust. And there's the back end there. And really just like the styling still. It's held up pretty well. But things like that exhaust tip, really nice to have that and not have it be like a cheap downpipe or something. And we can fold the seats flat here. And then you can run longer objects through. You can do it to both sides. And then to put it back up, you have to unhook it. Then it locks back into place. You can actually do it with one hand if you need to. And then we have a storage pocket behind the front passenger seat there. And then here we have our 4-way manual front driver's seat. Pretty good sized glove compartment here with owner's manuals. There are a bunch of manuals in this car. But I do like that we have extra space there too. And of course, storage underneath the center stack here with a USB port and a 12-volt there. So far it definitely seems like the Santa Fe makes good use of the room that's in the vehicle. a lot less wasted space than I was expecting. And a huge shout out to Hyundai of Cool Springs for allowing me to review this Santa Fe today. There's the 2.5 liter Smart Stream naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. Let's go ahead and hop on the inside. Really like that we have a leather wrap steering wheel here. Feels really nice and really easy to grip. I'm gonna cut this AC down. It's just a little hot out today. And then on this 10-inch screen here, we have a navigation system there, and I like that we still have everything on the, I shouldn't say everything, but we have the option of having like the audio here, so if I need to keep my eye on the map but still want to change the stations, I can see what's going on, or I can just go ahead and have the map there. And then weather info and other things are set up there, and it's just nice to be able to customize that. But we do get, like I said, the navigation system. We get AM, FM, XM radio, and we can just toggle all of that there. And then we have Bluetooth audio, and then wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility. I'm just going to show you all in here. So these are your settings here, whether it's for BlueLink, general settings, vehicle settings. So whatever you can customize, like driver assistance, the cluster, climate, all of that, you can do within the screen. So pretty neat. And then you can even change the screen layout depending on what you want to see. So all of that will change. So pretty neat. And there's our backup camera there. Guidelines follow you as you turn the steering wheel. Again, I like that you can have this here, especially if I'm backing up and let's say I want to change the station while I'm doing it, which you shouldn't, but you can. And then down here to the actual buttons and knobs, we do have our volume knob here, which is nice, and then we can go through our radio stations or track list here, which is really nice. And then we have quick shortcuts for everything you may need, and you can even set up a favorite, and then you can go to that just by hitting that button. So whether you want to do whatever, you can set that up. And then dual zone automatic climate controls. I do like that when you're setting it, you don't have anything that you can see here, right? But you go up here, and then everything's on that right side. So it was really smart to still have a pretty good size main screen here, and then have the secondary screen there that kind of pops up as you need it. And then same thing with fan speed and all of that. It'll show you, and it's on auto now, and then I can decide where I want the airflow to go. And then little graphics for that as well. Then if I hit the climate button there, it'll actually take me to a full page screen to show the climate controls. So there's everything there again. Now for the 8-speed, shift using these buttons here: park, reverse, neutral, drive. And then in drive, we have these paddle shifters behind the steering wheel that we can use. And then we have our auto stop. We can toggle that on and off. Automatic brake hold, hill descent here, downhill brake control, whatever you want to call it. And then we can toggle the parking camera, push of a button. But really like the drive modes here, having this big knob. You got comfort, sport, snow, and then smart. And then you also have a rear differential lock too, and you can just hit the button there and turn that on. 3-stage heated seats for the driver, front passenger. Love this little stowaway here, so I can leave my phone on top here if I want to, use this pocket here, or cup holder, USB, and then the wireless charging pad, of course, being right here. And then there's that additional cup holder. Pretty good size center console cubby space, removable tray, you can take that out. I believe it's actually supposed to go up here. And there's a view of the back from up here. Again, sorry for having the plastic on the headrest. And then lights here. I do wish they had the premium dome lights, kind of that white LED look instead of these yellow ones, but they still look okay. Now back to the steering wheel, we can hit this mode button to go through our audio, whether it's AM, FM, XM, voice recognition here, Bluetooth controls here, volume, mute, and then you can use this to go through your track list or your radio station favorite presets. And then over here, smart cruise controls, gap adjust for that. We can set it there, and then we can turn that lane centering on and off. And then this button, along with this little scroll bar, is used for the digital part of the gauge cluster here. And we can scroll through all of that. And then to the left stalk here, blinkers, headlamps. Now when we just have the lights on regularly, we can put the high beams on there and then turn them off and flash them there. And in auto mode, it actually just serves as your automatic high beams, and they'll turn on and off by themselves. And then to the right side of the steering wheel, we do have our wipers here. One time, intermittent, low, high, and then we can set our intermittent here. Rear wiper here, low, high, off, and then we can push back for rear wiper fluid or pull up for front wiper fluid. And then here we have our push button start. And finally, here's our key fob with remote start. But next we're going to go ahead and take this Santa Fe SEL all-wheel drive out on the road for a quick test drive. So the Santa Fe SEL definitely has a nice layout to it. I like how the controls are all here. I like how the radio screen is up there. So everything's kind of out of my way for driving, specifically with these paddle shifters here. But also, not having an eco mode was kind of worrisome at first, but the smart mode really does a good job at differentiating whether I want to be in a sport mode, in a more normal mode, eco mode, whatever. But then I can also toggle it here with this little knob. So here in comfort mode, it's gonna be your normal driving mode. Drives really nicely. Of course, it's not doing anything extra like softening your suspension or messing with the steering feel, but I still just like how the vehicle drives, specifically with the 8-speed, and then I can turn on the paddles whenever. And of course, it's not going to be as sporty, but it's there. And then you can just hold the right paddle to put it back in a normal drive mode. And if you don't do it for a while, I think it'll just do it by itself. But you can also just go ahead and put it in a sport mode, and then it really, for a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, its acceleration is pretty good. But also just like downshifting even with this here. And the shifts are pretty precise. It does what you tell it to. After this traffic gets out of the way, I'm gonna see if I can give it some throttle here. And still in sport mode, no paddle shifters. We're gonna see what this thing can do. Quick enough. Definitely would rather have the 2.5 turbo, but still adequate power. And like I said, you got a 4-cylinder, so pretty impressive for that. But I have the adaptive cruise on, lane centering on. Really nice ride here, and as you can see, coming downhill, I'm getting right at 40 miles per gallon. Now, of course, that's not what you're going to get normally. On the interstate, you can expect to see probably 25 to 27, just depending on how fast you're going and how the terrain is. But really like the seats. They're very supportive in the sense that I have a bolster here. It's not just a flat back and I'm sliding all over the place. It actually holds me as I take corners without necessarily gripping me like a sportier seat would. And especially for having cloth seats, they're really, really well thought out, I think. So if you're in the market for the Santa Fe, I think a good comparison is going to be a Ford Explorer. And maybe not even something that big. The Santa Fe is weird because it's kind of, the Palisades, it feels a tad bigger, but they're pretty similar just in being able to have third rows, in my opinion. But of course the Palisade is meant to be more luxurious. It's meant to do a little bit more. Powertrains tend to be a little bit more powerful. But what's cool about the Santa Fe is you have a third row vehicle that's pretty capable in terms of the interior space without having to pay more. So if it is in between an Explorer and an Escape, in my opinion, or maybe between a Traverse and an Equinox, and it's right in that sweet spot where, like I said, you're not paying for necessarily a mid-size SUV, but you get the same capability for one in terms of cargo space, interior room for your passengers, and honestly, technology as well. I mean, you have blind spot monitors, both mirrors, you have the smart cruise, lane centering, and for this price point to have your heated seats, dual zone automatic climate controls, and navigation, I mean, really good for the money, in my opinion. And again, Hyundai's just hitting the sweet spots for vehicles that I think don't really have, I feel like they're making these vehicles that don't have a lot of competition, because you kind of are in between two vehicles that the lower end one might not be enough, and then the higher end one might be too much money. Like I said, comparing a Traverse to an Equinox, something like that. But with all that being said, this is going to bring me to an end of my review of the new 2023 Hyundai Santa Fe SEL 2.5 all-wheel drive.